This video is brought to you by Grainger Warranty, your #1 online source for factory-backed extended warranties in the country.
Hey y'all, we're taking a deep dive into this 2025 Kia Sorento X-Pro Prestige, including an MPG test and a slip test to see if this is the ultimate 3-row family hauler that doesn't break the bank. All right, we're up at the ranch to do our slip test, and the idea here is to get the tires stuck on rollers on purpose so we can test how different cars deal with different tires getting stuck in a zero traction situation. So our first test is going to be both front wheels are stuck, so the rears will need to get us unstuck. No special modes quite yet, so we're going to keep everything in normal. So let's get backed up onto the rollers. All right, we're in drive. Let's get her some light throttle. Piece of cake. On to the next. All right, now, so the next test is the diagonal slip test, where the right front wheel and tire and the left rear wheel and tire are going to be stuck on the roller. So the car needs to send power to both the front and rear axles to get stuck. Since this is all-wheel drive, it is designed to do that, but this has a torque vectoring all-wheel drive system, which is a little more advanced than your typical all-wheel drive system, which is just based on basic traction control. So let's give it some throttle, see how long it takes to get out. A little slip. All right, got through. On to the next. Now, the third test is definitely more difficult. In this test, all of the wheels and tires are going to be stuck on rollers except for the right front. Now, this is definitely a more extreme situation than you'll typically ever find yourself in, but this is a great way to test out that torque vectoring all-wheel drive system, which enhances the vehicle handling and stability by actively distributing the engine power to individual wheels rather than just front to rear or side to side. All right, let's see if this will get us out pretty easily. I want to remind you, still in normal mode, haven't put in any fancy modes or anything, so let's give it some light throttle. Definitely notice some slip. Ooh, got out pretty quick. All right, let's change it up. For the fourth test, same thing, all the tires are gonna be stuck on rollers except for the left rear. Still in normal mode, but that torque vectoring system definitely helped out a lot on that last test. And that's because it uses sensors to monitor various factors like vehicle speed, steering angle, wheel speed, and lateral G-forces. So let's see if that's going to do the same to help us get out of that right rear stuck. All right, let's give it a little throttle. Oh, got out immediately, all in normal mode. Man, so that really goes to show how good that torque vectoring all-wheel drive system is. I'm impressed. It barely spun at all before it recognized that it was stuck and sent power to the correct wheels. I'm impressed.
If you love your ride, protect it with an extended warranty with Grainger Warranty. With Grainger, you can save up to $1,000 on your extended warranty, where they'll fix your ride with OEM parts installed by OEM-trained techs. Go to GraingerWarranty.com or click on that link below.
This Sorento is giving off some Stormtrooper vibes in the glacial white pearl paint with all of the black trim. But since this is the X Pro trim, you get some extra goodies like these 17-inch black wheels, along with these beefy all-terrain tires. Got some black skull caps with heated outboard mirrors, as well as some black roof rails, and a higher tow capacity at 4,500 pounds. Even a space saver spare. No, not a full-size spare, but at least you got something. Now, all X Pro Sorentos come with a standard 2.5-liter turbocharged engine with 281 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, made it up to an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. When it comes to cargo volume, well, not a whole lot you're working with, about 13 cubic feet behind the third row, but this does jump up to 45 cubic feet as soon as you drop the third row down. Need even more space? No problem. We got those little buttons that's gonna drop the seats down for you. It jumps up to 76 cubic feet. It does have a carpeted mat that goes over the back seats for a little extra protection. And then under here is going to be a little bit of extra storage space where you're also going to find your jack. Now it's time for our MPG test. A lot of times we'll do the Denver 100, but we're going to do a Buc-ee's 70 today. So Buc-ee's about 33 miles away, up and back, and it's a mixture of highway and stop and go. So let's fill her up and see what we get. All right, let's start our 30-second timer and top her off. Alrighty. Alrighty, trips reset. Let's hit the road. We are about halfway up to Buc-ee's. Gone about 20 miles, about 12 miles left. And right now our average MPG is doing pretty good. Combined EPA for the Sorento X Pro is 23, 27 highway, and that's what we've been doing primarily. So for us to be averaging 32 MPG right now is actually pretty impressive. But I do have the help with a little bit of driver assistance aids, such as adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. And so far, it's doing quite well. This is a hands-on system to show you it's keeping me pretty centered in the lane. And one thing I always look for is if the car bounces from one side of the lane to the other, or if it tends to hug one side of the lane over the other. And right now, it's keeping me pretty centered in the lane, which is something I always like to see. But you can adjust the adaptive cruise control as far as car lengths. Right now I have it set to 4 because I like to keep my distance, but so far, so good. Cruising along. You can tell this is the top of the line trim because it is very premium in here. This is olive brown interior with these heated and ventilated leather front seats, and we have a two-tone steering wheel, which is also heated. It also has a lot of nice buttons. It is a curved media center sporting two 12.3-inch screens, which also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Unfortunately, no actual buttons for your temperature controls. However, you do have a screen just for that here with physical dials for the temperature settings, and you can switch it to a quick search as well. It's got a couple USB-C ports, a wireless phone charger, but what I love to see is an actual shift knob. Here's where you're going to find your different drive modes, including snow, normal, eco, sport, and smart, but the best thing is your center locking differential, which is pretty nice to have. This is where you're going to turn on your heated steering wheel. You've got auto hold, hill descent control, which is super nice to have, and this is where you can pull up all of your different camera angles. Kia has always been good with providing a plethora of different camera angles, both for the front and the rear, including a movable 3D view. So far, I have to say the driving experience is pretty nice. You know, this is the prestige package on this Sorento X Pro. So it is top of the line, and with that, you would get a lot of top of the line features like those leather seats I showed you before. It's got a heated second row, the heated steering wheel, this Syntex suede headliner, which is really, really nice. I also think that helps with the road noise because it's relatively quiet in here, which is not what I would expect with kind of bigger off-roady all-terrain tires. Typically, when you've got all-terrains, you're going to expect road noise, tire noise, and it's actually a relatively quiet ride in here. But we also have HomeLink, which is a really nice feature. It's a garage door system, so you can actually set up for 3 different doors, and it's right in your mirror if you want to use the button, but it's also automated, so that is really neat. And it has a rear digital mirror, which is also pretty nice. The seats are pretty comfortable. You know, they're not exactly super, super plush, but they do have some good support, which is what you are going to want when you're going on anything like long road trips. When it comes to suspension, it is a little stiff for my liking, especially for not being anything like a performance type vehicle. You definitely feel a lot of the imperfections in the road, so it's not necessarily a cloud-like driving experience. When it comes to the second row, still just as nice. I left the seat where I drive 5'7" for reference, and I still have plenty of leg room and still a decent amount of headroom, and these seats are very comfortable. These are leather heated and they're reclining, which is a really nice option to have. No actual temperature controls back here, but you do get a couple of air vents as well as a 12-volt port, a household outlet, but that's not where the charging stops. You even get 2 USB-C ports in the back of the seats. You get a nicely placed cup holder on the top here, along with another cubby down below, but that's not even the best part. This is where you're gonna find your sunshades. This being a 3-row family hauler means it's likely it's gonna see some car seats. So let's see how much room the driver has if a car seat is installed right behind. So to install these, you're just gonna find the anchor points. Should be a nice satisfying click like that. Same over here, easy enough. Push this down. Lift up with all your might because you want less than an inch of play. Very nice, confirmed. We've got level bubbles. We are good to go. Then you get them clicked in, easy as pie, but how much room do we have left? Well, I left the seat where I have it when I'm driving, as I said before, 5'7", so I'm not the tallest person in the world, but Gavin, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
All right, I need you to come over here. All right, Gavin, can you put the seat where it would be comfortable for you?
That's it.
That's good?
That's about right.
Oh, we've got just enough room. But if you are any taller than Gavin or have freakishly longer legs than Gavin, this could be tight.
Yeah.
Alrighty, just made our little pit stop at Buc-ee's. And we are averaging 31 mpg, which ain't bad. So let's plug in to go back home and see what we get. Well, in the event that someone in their 3rd trimester needs to get in the 3rd row for whatever reason, let's see how easy it would be. So these do scooch forward. You can tilt this forward. Oh, this is not going to be pretty, but this is what we do for y'all. When it comes to space, it's kind of a wash because, yes, I do have some leg room as far as my knees aren't touching the back, but since this floor is elevated, my legs are like shifted up like this. So I understand that this isn't one of the biggest 3rd row SUVs in this line, but it's not bad for what it is. I do have some USB-C ports on either side, a couple cubbies. Then for me to escape this horrible situation, I would just pull on this red tab here all the way up, and then I can actually scoot this forward. The X Pros come standard with that 2.5 liter turbo engine, but 0 to 60 in 6 seconds is not terrible, but it certainly feels a little sluggish. All right, let's wait 30 seconds and top her off. So the car computer is telling us we average 28.7 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. But let's see what our calculations say. It says we needed about 2.3 gallons to top back off. So we drove a total of 65 miles today, divided by 2.3 gallons, which comes out to 28.3. So a little less than what the car computer is telling us, but still way better than what combined MPG is calling for at 23, even with mainly highway, which is at 27. So it's pretty good. All right, let's recap, shall we? We watched it absolutely dominate on our slip test, thanks to that torque vectoring all-wheel drive system. It did better than expected on our MPG test, averaging over 28 when this has an estimated 27 MPG for highway. It has a very nice premium interior that is quite comfortable. The only downfalls I saw with this were space, and that's going to lead me into price. Now you can get a base starting at $33,000, which is pretty affordable, but this is the X Pro Prestige package, which definitely ups that price. And this is priced out at a little over $50,000, which is now putting it in the same bracket as a Telluride. So if the extra space is not necessarily something you need, but you do want that added coverage with bigger tires, higher clearance, and the ability to get out of most sticky situations, I do think the Sorento X Pro Prestige is a great 3-row family hauler for a budget. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check out alltfl.com for even more videos. This is Jen. See you next time.